Hey everyone, welcome to the Urban Robot Cat Podcast. I'm your host, Travis Likens.
Chris, you're usually second.
I think we lost him. He must have stepped away.
Well, then I'm Cory from Strange Cat Toys.
And the other guy that's showing us a thing of a painting is Chris. I see a shadow.
Yeah.
There he is.
My bad.
He's back.
Chris RWK. My bad.
Yeah, Chris Punctuality is not his name.
Sorry, we're dog sitting my brother-in-law's dog, so he gets a little annoying around this time of night. So I just had to make sure he was okay.
So, for those that are just joining us, the Urban Robot Cat Podcast is your source of awesomeness in the designer toy world and art world. We are back. We said we were going to be more consistent, but here we are. So we started that.
It's only been a month.
It's only been a month, but we started that new thing probably on the wrong foot because Chris immediately had to leave to go to Italy, and then Cory had to go to Japan, which was like 2 weeks where we could not podcast unless we were going to call in at like weird times in whatever time zone these folks are at. I did not leave Ohio during that period of time, so it was not my fault. That's all I'm going to say. So
well, now we have lots of content to talk about.
We do. So that's what the segue rollover here is Chris was in Italy doing his show Times Like This, correct? Was the name?
Yes.
I kept trying to say these, but it's not. It's this.
The Times Like This. It was at exclusive Urban Art in Rome. It was a good time. I went out for the show. Sold some work, met a bunch of people. It was pretty cool because I was out front of the gallery just signing stuff for some people who had come from like other parts of Italy to meet me. And as I was signing them, random people would just kind of walk up and see what like the crowd was, and then they would like run and grab something that they'd have me sign, and then some of those people would actually go into the gallery and bought pieces. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's definitely a different feeling than some shows in the States,
Yeah, it definitely had a cool look to the gallery. It had a really nice look, and the presentation was really good. It looked like the fans came out to support and everything. So I mean, it looked like it was a great time for you. Plus, I saw you got to do some cool sightseeing while you were there. What's the coolest thing you saw there that wasn't something that you did?
Well, I mean, first off, just the art in general over there is just insane. The architecture. I mean, our hotel was like right across from where like Caesar was like assassinated. Then you had like we went up north to Florence to see a couple of different things. Got to see the David in person, which was just incredibly inspiring. Then we went down to like Pompeii, checked out that whole thing with Mount Vesuvius, and that was just crazy history. Just how old that stuff is and it still exists is just it's just incredible. It's a beautiful place. I mean, everybody and anybody who I talk to, I tell them try to get over there.
Yeah. No, it's definitely whenever you go to Europe or in Asia too, like where Cory was at, it's just crazy to think about like something old in America is like 250 years old, maybe 300 years old.
Yeah.
And then you get over there and it's like, well, this building was built, in BC.
Exactly.
Like there's just really old stuff, and it's just really cool to see the difference in like what's old here and what's old, in other places as well. So, but what has Cory been up to since he was on the other side of the planet?
We were in Japan for a week. We went to a Wonder Festival. It's a biannual show that they do out there. It's the biggest show I've ever been to or seen in my life. It's 3 giant convention halls, 2 of which are all basically micro companies or artists or people just putting prototypes out for fans to see. And then the other giant hall is like big companies like Bandai and things like that. And it's only a 1-day show. I walked around for, I don't know, 6 hours because I had some people helping me in the booth. so I could meet people and, you know, try to network and source some new Safubi. And I didn't get to meet half the people I wanted to meet because it was so massive. So I recommend that show to anybody.
So when
There's
you say
no.
when you
Go
say
ahead.
massive, are we talking like 3 times the size of Decon, or like 2 times, or you know, when you say the convention halls?
Probably 3 times the
Wow,
size of Decon.
wow,
And that's like, you know, Decon was the two sides or
yeah, yeah,
whatever, but like 3 of those, that's how big it was.
wow. So and
And
then on top,
there was no like bunch of big cars and a section filling up some space. It was just filled.
yeah, yeah. Well, and then also they don't really have like 10 by 10 booths there. So I imagine they packed the center even more with more vendors. So there's probably even more than 3 times the vendors, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's like I think 6 or 7 foot tables, and they just make these islands for everybody. It's all pretty well thought out. Unfortunately for me, it wasn't like all the Safubi people are here, and then all the anime guys are over here, and all the busty booby ladies are over here. You know, it was all kind of mixed up. So it was
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
to kind of navigate and find people. I missed quite a few people that I was like, oh, I'm going to come see you. And then by the end, it was just too late.
I mean, it shouldn't have been that hard to spot you though. So they could have found you.
Yeah, that's true. But you know, they gotta work their booths. For the most part, the Safubi artists are it's just them. You know, it's not a
Yeah,
company
yeah, yeah.
behind them. They're ordering their blank Safubi. They're painting them. You know, just like anybody that was doing Artist Alley in the States.
Yeah, definitely. So while you guys were jet setting around the world, I was just at home doing my thing, you know,
That's
shipping
it. Just
out
doing your
orders,
thing.
packing orders, shipping things out. We did release the pre-orders for Donuts Man for Wizard Skull, so that was doing really well for us.
I did see that.
We've sold through most of those. It's a 10-inch resin sculpture. There are still some pre-orders available, but you know, it is selling pretty well for us. So I can't guarantee they're going to be available like once the thing arrives. So if you're really waiting on one of those, you probably should just go ahead and put your pre-order in. And then we also released a new figure. Well, it's a resin piece with Studio Nez, or Nez, as you may know her by. She's from Chicago, and she's got her character called Serial Buddy, sorry. And we made a 5-inch resin sculpture of it. So that is also up for pre-order right now. So lots of new stuff coming up on the site. A lot of people might be saying, "Hey, why are you doing so many pre-orders?" But you know, that's the way of the world these days. So that's the way we're going too. And look at that, Chris just went blank. I don't know if we lost him or if he just like put his thumb over his thing.
Probably the dog's acting up.
So while
pre-orders are definitely the way of the world and the way to go. I would advise anybody, if you can pre-order, do that. You know, have people wait 3 to 6 months. They'll be just as happy.
Yeah. Well, and you know, it allows us to make you know, like what people are looking for, and not you know, make stuff like tons of things that people don't necessarily want or need. Hey, there's Chris again. He's back.
Hey.
So Chris is having technical difficulties tonight. Either he leaves or his phone leaves. So I can't decide which one's going on. But it's a live show. Now we've lost them all together. So I guess while Chris is away, we could go ahead and transition. So we do have a guest with us tonight, and we can now welcome her to the show. So I'm going to click add here real quick, and hopefully she enters the room. So welcome to the show, Jennifer, aka
Jennifer.
the Coven of Cuteness. So to introduce you to the show, I'll give you a chance to go ahead and tell everybody who you are and what it is you do in the world of art.
My name is Jennifer Lisiaga, and I'm the artist behind the Coven of Cuteness. I basically a doll maker / sculptor. That's how I define myself. I make whimsical creatures, but also with like a creepy twist. I have a doll with me.
We love examples now that we're live.
Krampus. I use a various materials like resin, yarn. If you've seen my work on Instagram, you know that I like use all kinds of stuff that I find laying around to make my creations. I've been doing this for almost 6 years, since 2018. Yeah, and this is what I do full time.
Nice. So I did notice that when I was looking over your work, and what I've seen from the past is that you do mix a lot of media, right? So you play around with a lot of different things. Did you always start out that way, or has that been something you kind of added on as you kind of developed your style?
That's kind of funny. A funny story. Before I did Coven of Cuteness, I was a crochet artist. So I went to different conventions and I made like little amigurumis based on like pop culture characters. After a while, my hands just started hurting so much, and I'm like, I need to find a way to make this easier on me. And so I started incorporating resin, making molds, casting, and then that's how I kind of developed this like hybrid resin slash yarn slash clay concoction that I that I just put out there. People like it.
Yeah, no, I think it helps you make you stand out, make you unique, right? Because a lot of people work in clay, or they work in this, or they work in that, or they just paint onto their onto like like a previous like a canvas or a pre-made kind of like platform if you were like a toy artist or something like that. But I think mixing all those styles gives it cool texture and elements that makes it stand out when it's like lined up against other people's work in a gallery or something like that.
Yeah, and I struggle a lot with that because I feel like I don't really belong in the designer toy community. There's not like a lot of people that do what I do. So when I was getting ready for the Strange Cat show on Saturday, I wanted to like cast all these things, and I wanted so bad to be a resin artist. And it wasn't until like 3 weeks ago that I'm like, this is not me. Like all these people are gonna see all these like resin casts, and that's just not Coven of Cuteness. So I switched gears like 3 weeks ago, and I like worked every day till like midnight, and I'm super happy because what I'm presenting on Saturday's show is what I really am. It's like a mix of like fabrics and resin and clay.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like my advice to anybody watching this show that's trying to do things, anytime you start trying to force something or make it not you, everybody sees it. And they're just like, that's not it. That's not what she's about, or that's not what he's about, or like his brand is about. And as soon as you start doing that, it starts failing. So always be you, right? Like that's always the number one thing. Because like, even for myself, like as UVD started to expand, I started doing all these different things. Like I loved everything I was doing, but did it all work? And some of that was because I wasn't necessarily doing the things that I am really good at, right? Or what I know how to do. And when you start doing that, then people start to tell that it's not authentic. And getting back to that and finding it is always the key. So
yeah,
I think you did the right thing.
We've all tried to chase this is popular, this is working for everyone, so let me try it, and then it doesn't work.
I'm so glad that I switched gears, because if people were to go to the show on Saturday and see all like this resin cast and see my Instagram, they're like, wait, this doesn't really like add up. What's all this?
Well, it's not to say that you can't make a transition like that, but it has to work for you and it has to feel authentic, right? Anybody can transition and move and do things. It's just, it has to be, people just kind of know when it's not authentic, right? Or it's not what represents you, right?
Yeah.
So, but so leading right into that, Cory, let's talk about this show a little bit. So what's the deal? So people that are listening could get interested and try to check it out.
Yeah, so the show's this Saturday. It starts at 11 a.m. when the shop opens. Jennifer will be there, right?
Yep.
So you can come out, meet Jennifer. If you have any older things that you want signed, I'm sure she'll sign it for you if you don't already sign everything. But we'll have her work on display. It'll be first come in the shop, and then online will start at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So if you can't make it out, whatever's left over is going to go up then.
So for the show, is there like a name or a theme, or is it a bunch of a wide variety of work?
Oh well, the show is called Enchanted Grove, and it's mostly a forest theme. So like a magical forest. There's like werewolves and fairies and like magical creatures.
Awesome.
It's gonna be amazing.
Sounds like the gallery's going to have a cool vibe for the time that the show is up.
Yep.
Yes, I'm excited for it. It'll be up for 3 to 4 weeks. So even if you can't make it out, the opening, you can still come and check it out over the next couple weeks.
Nice. So for the listeners, like, how did you go from what you described yourself as not a designer toy artist into the designer toy world? Was that just through Cory, or were you already kind of working that way before?
In 2019, my friend was like, hey, there's like this event called 5 Points where like cool artists go that aren't really like the artists that you would find in like anime conventions or like comic conventions, which is what I was used to. And she's like, fly to New York, try it out. It's cheap. Just like test out the waters. I'm like, I've never been out of Florida. All I do are like anime cons. Okay, sure. I have family in New York. I'll stay with them, so I don't have to like pay for hotels. And on 2019, I went to 5 Points. Was my first ever show out of state, and it was like mind blowing. It was so refreshing to see so many people creating their own characters. There was like hardly any fan art. Which was what I was used to. I was like making characters of like Batman and like Superman. But when I went there, it was all people's like original characters. And that just like opened my eyes to this whole new world. And I already had made my original characters. I just showed up with like a bunch of dolls and people loved them. And I was like so excited. I came back to Florida and I told everybody about it. And I'm like, I'm gonna do this every year. I'm gonna look for all the designer toy shows, and I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
That's how I got started.
Yeah, the thing is there's not a ton of them, so it's
yes.
there's a few big ones, and then everybody kind of piles on to like New York Comic Con or some of the other ones.
Yeah.
We do have a question coming from the crowd here. Space Chick _crypto is asking, what is your X/Twitter handle? So she can check you out there.
I don't know if I use Twitter.
Okay, there you go. No Twitter. You're on Instagram though? So
yeah, mostly on Instagram and on Facebook.
Yep, and it's at the Coven of Cuteness. Yes. Correct. Okay.
It's the Coven of Cuteness, because Coven of Cuteness, it was already taken.
Yeah. Well, if you're from Ohio, like they love to put "the" in front of Ohio State University, which is super annoying. So you can say "the Coven of Cuteness" if you wanted to like make yourself stand out even more.
Like the people that are in the Bronx that put that on their address, and then I have to change it because I can't make shipping labels to the Bronx.
It's the Bronx, DA.
Oh yeah, DA. Sorry, that's what they need to be putting.
Look at that, Chris is actually here.
Sorry, I had some technical problems. There's like a crazy rainstorm going on right now, and out of nowhere, like I lost power and stuff. I don't know, it's weird.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like an old person problem. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, listen, like half the world didn't have phones today, right? T-Mobile.
Yeah, what was that about? AT&T.
Yeah, I saw that people marking themselves safe or clear or whatever. So.
Yeah, supposedly it was Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T. So
I didn't have any problems. I'm Verizon.
Neither did I. So
I got Google Fi.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So 2019 5 Points. The whole time I've been like, was I there? And the answer I think is yes, I was there.
Yeah,
no, you weren't.
We were there.
No, you weren't.
I think you guys were like facing like the street, like the outside, like that patio thing.
Yeah, I was facing the patio because I was like on the front there. I had a really amazing spot the first 2 times I did 5 Points. Like that was like the best little spot.
I think that was the year I had that giant Pucky statue.
Yeah, that was the year of the statue. Yeah.
That was the actual main one, not the smaller one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. That was the second venue that they had.
Right.
And they did that there for 2 years. So So, but yeah, it feels so long ago because I mean, it kind of was, right? But like COVID makes it feel even longer ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I was actually figuring that out today when I was doing something with the podcast stuff, and I kind of forgot that we started this podcast in 2019. So like, I was like, man, we've been doing this a long time. But then I'm like, well, we didn't do it for like 2 years, so I guess it's not. I guess it's
well, you had to go and have babies.
Yeah.
So, but you know, it is what it is. We're back, and we're going to be more consistent, guys. We're going to stick to that.
Don't jinx us. Come on.
Jennifer, do you have like a revolving character that you find yourself going back to pretty frequently?
I am obsessed with anything skeletons and fairies. So you'll see a lot of skeletons, fairies that are skeletons. I'll have a lot of that at the show on Saturday. Nice. So you'll see that throughout my works consistently.
And what do you think it is that kind of inspires you to go that route, or take more of the darker, woodsy route in your art?
I don't know. I'm just like obsessed with like fantasy, with like fantasy movies. I grew up watching, like Jim Henson, like Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, and I was like super inspired by that. Guillermo del Toro, all these people that make like cute but like sometimes creepy. I like that, like when they like try to like balance the cute and creepy.
Did you like that new take on Pinocchio? I think that was Guillermo, right?
I saw that like 2 weeks ago for the first time. I loved it.
So good. Yeah, I can definitely see that that influence in your work big time. Now that you say that.
Yeah, I sketched out a character. He's like a little trunk. I'm gonna show you. So he's like a little trunk with legs, and his like arms are like limbs, and then there's like a fairy skeleton coming out of his head, kind of like that toy that I did for the Beast Wreck show.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of like that vibe. I gotta show you.
Yeah, that was my favorite out of that show, your piece. I think that was the first one to sell too.
That was so last minute. That was like, I did that like the day before. I like sent it, like shipped it super quick. And everybody's like, oh my God, that is so amazing. That's so genius. I'm like, oh.
I'm impressed because it doesn't look like you spent a lot of time on it. It does not look like a whip up in a day kind of custom.
Yeah, that's how I usually work. I'm a professional procrastinator.
It seems to be most artists.
I think that's a constant, consistent thing with artists.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like messaging you, like, hey, can we like, how far can we push this show?
Yeah,
I think I think the post office and UPS and FedEx make a lot of money off of artists that are trying to get things to a place next day air.
Yep.
I know sometimes I'll get prices from artists that, hopefully in Florida, it wasn't too much for you to do next day, but a lot of people be like halfway across the country, and I'll see the price on the label, like, oh, $60 the next day, and like they're still only selling it for $150. I'm like, you made no money because you lost it all in shipping.
Yeah.
No. Well, it was just a 10-pound box. It was like probably like $50, so it wasn't bad.
Okay, that's not bad.
I should be driving 2 hours and then 2 hours back. So
about the same in gas these days.
I mean, I'll give out a secret to everybody. It doesn't cost you anything, but there's this thing called Pirate Ship.
Yeah, that's what I used.
Yep. I was gonna toss that out there. It's free, guys, and you can save lots of money on things like overnight shipping.
When I shipped to Italy, I went to the UPS store just to kind of get a price. Everything. I boxed everything up. I go in and they're like, without insurance for the 2 boxes, it's going to be about $3,000.
Jesus.
I was like, yeah, I'll be right back. I came home. I went on Pirate Ship with the insurance, both boxes. I think it was $310.
Wow.
It was insane. I was like, I had to thank Travis right away. I was like, Travis, thank you for letting me know about that.
I'll take my payment in a steak when I see you next time.
There you go. At a collected con, I got dinner for you. Don't worry.
I should. That's what I should do. I should be like a pirate ship like influencer. That's what I should be. Like,
Get a percentage of your
get a
sales.
percentage.
Yeah.
Like, because
Yeah,
I mean,
get your own coupon code.
Referral
so
code.
actually, I mean, I figured out how they make money because, like, if you ever have like a return or something on those, and you go in and you try to like file the claim, you'll look at it and it'll say the shipment price, and I swear they make like 10 cents a package. So like they are straight up volume like company, right? Like they're just trying to pump as much through as possible, and I'm sure they make lots of money. But like it's incredible the service they provide for very little. Like, I mean, it's free. Like, like it's literally free.
It's absurd.
So,
Like, and the great thing too is they give you the options of, UPS, USPS, and they tell you,
What the best option is.
Yeah,
and
cheapest and fastest and everything.
Yeah.
And it's perfect for an artist that's not, like Cory and I, we could pay for something like, like Ship Station or something. We could pay for something. But like somebody that's only using it maybe like twice a month or like, once a month or maybe once every 2 months, it's amazing for that, So that's my free pirate ship. I mean, I guess I don't pay for it, so I guess I should like be like, oh yeah, I'm giving you free advertisement, but you're giving me great prices for free, so it's not really advertisement. So,
well, I guess in the talks of advice, do you have any, Jennifer, any advice for any like up and coming artists or new people as far as honing in their skills? Like, what did you kind of use to kind of better define how you do your work?
Just practice. You'll get better eventually the more you pump out work. Network as much as you can. Go to every show, talk to like artists, galleries, hit them up. That's how I got shows on galleries. I just like hit them up on Instagram. Hey, are you like looking for new artists? Can I be in this group show? And they'll say yes or no, but it doesn't hurt to ask. But consistency, be consistent and persistent. You'll get there.
And how long did you start doing this? I guess, when did you kind of start doing all the art, and then when did it become like a full-time thing for you?
I probably started around like 2010.
Okay. Long time ago.
2010. Yeah. And then I switched to the Coven of Cuteness because my hands couldn't take all the crochet stuff. And I went full time. I went all in when I did Coven of Cuteness. I signed up for like every event in the beginning. The first year I signed up for every like shitty convention, like doesn't matter.
You got a lot of those in Florida.
Farmers market, like in a gymnasium, I'm there.
I mean,
do you think you do better at like the anime cons or the pop-up markets or like the spooky conventions, or does it not matter?
I do better with the oddities market because I feel like that's like a different mindset, like a collector mindset,
Yep.
I do well with like tattoo shop owners, tattoo artists, where they want like cool stuff for their booths or their shops. Those are like my main like big ballers, I pay cash.
They can see the value in the art,
Yes.
A lot of the people that are buying Funko Pop or whatever, a $10 toy, they're like, why is this $80?
Yeah, in conventions, anime conventions and comic conventions, I don't do really well, but once I like switch to oddities and like tattoo style events, that's where I started really like making big money. Well, big money for us is subjective, but anyways, once I made that switch from like that comic, like teenager only has $20 to like shop around the exhibitor room to like the more collector crowd, that's where I saw a big difference, and I'm like sticking to that.
Yeah. No, finding your niche, right? That's
Yeah.
part of the whole process of building your career, right, as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
And finding where you resonate with people. It's not easy to figure that out. Sometimes the obvious place is not the place.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I got to be at this place because that's where everybody's at, and that may not be the place you do the best, right? Because sometimes when you're in that place, it's like you're competing with everybody else, and it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
So,
I'm still trying to figure it out.
I mean, I think everybody is always, right.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody ever figures it out. You look at somebody like, I don't know, like Cause or something, you're like, they got it figured out. But I'm sure the people over there in their team are also like, where could we expand this to a new market, right?
Well, yeah, and
always
everything
trying to find a new place.
Yeah, and everything changes so quickly and so often.
Yeah,
things can fall off abruptly as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, something that was cool in the toy world 2 years ago is nothing now.
Yeah,
I feel like the toy world especially is like that over like the regular art world. I feel like you'll see like an art theme for like a good 5, 10, 15 years, but then like with the toys, it's like 1 to 2 years and then on to the next thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's the phases, right? But art has that too, where like things get popular for a little bit and then it goes away. But I feel like toys are very like, it's the hot thing, and it's like this, it goes way up, and then all of a sudden it just stops, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just goes away. Whereas I feel like art, there's still like a delay a lot of times, unless it's somebody that just like is doing something that's easily like copyable or something like that. Because like the gallery scene kind of keeps it alive longer than, because the production cost is the person making the art, right? And like their time and their materials and things like that. Whereas like basically in the toy world, there's all this investment that goes in the front part of it. So like if people start to see it slip a little, they just stop investing immediately. It takes longer for the galleries to figure out that it's not selling as well, I think.
Yeah,
and the lead time tends to be slightly shorter for it to be made, so it doesn't fall off as quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're just joining us on Instagram, I don't know what happened there, but all of a sudden I got a notification that we are live. We are live right now with the Coven of Cuteness. We've been interviewing her for a while. This interview will be fully on Instagram and YouTube at the end. So if you're just catching on and you missed the beginning, you can catch on. You can get it later, the beginning part. But we are live. I don't know why. I just got a notification that we went live, so I figured I'd address it. We are still learning how to utilize this stuff. As I was explaining before we started filming, it's kind of a manual process because Instagram doesn't want you feeding things from multiple social medias into Instagram. So they don't like this exactly. And we're still learning the best way to do it. And by I say me.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for something to come in and take the place of Instagram. Like, how has that not happened? Like, what a shitty fucking platform. Can't somebody just duplicate what it was like 5 years ago so we can all be happy again?
Yeah, but nobody will use it, right? Because everybody just sees in the other one. It's the same reason that we haven't adopted TikTok probably as well as some people.
I don't know. I think TikTok's a little harder because not everybody wants to make videos. It's much quicker to just take a photo.
Yeah, but there was what was that one,
snippet.
Chris? What was that one? That was
the
new Instagram.
You had to pay to be on it. They killed it immediately.
No, not that one. The one that they found out like the backer was like some like Saudi oil guy or something like that. So everybody like panicked thinking that the money was going to like terrorist funding. I forget what it was called.
Yeah, it was a thing, right? But they were concerned about that, but they still go buy gas. They had no problem with that.
Yeah.
So,
but that killed that app super quick.
So Under Our Knives is saying, are we talking about Hive? And that does not ring a bell, but it could be that.
No, was it Hive?
I mean, it could have been. I remember there was one that everybody was like, you got to get on this. And it was like 3 weeks. I finally got on it, and then everybody stopped using it.
Well, that's like
How about Threads? Is everybody on fucking Threads? Like, I don't see anybody on Threads.
Well, I get notifications about it, but I'm nobody's on there. I don't think
I
they're like, "Did you see this on Threads?" I'm like, I don't even know who that person is that you're suggesting this thing to.
I
I
get
don't
like
understand what the point of having both would be.
well,
It was
it's like
just a
it's more like Twitter.
listen
Yeah.
match, right?
All I know is I get like notifications. I got like 30 new followers a day on there, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, I'm not even posting anything on it. I don't even know.
All I know is all this talk about Instagram and Threads is going to get us banned from going
Yeah.
live on there for
Yep.
sure. So,
Yep, Zuckerberg's listening in right now.
Instagram is the best. Just say that a couple of times, and we'll be good. Well, no, and then, you know what's crazy too is now like everybody's using LinkedIn as like a social media platform, but you got to pay for like the higher end version of it.
nobody's hired me off of LinkedIn.
No, not even not hiring, but like a lot of people using it like a social media platform with posting stuff and posting, shows and whatnot.
I have to post a picture of myself in like a suit on there, don't I? Like that's what I got. I gotta look like a professional, right?
Yeah, there you go.
So I don't know. I don't think they want me on LinkedIn. I have one. I don't use it.
Jennifer, did you notice like a downtick in sales or anything when the algorithm started to get all crazy?
Yes.
And
In
what did you do to kind of like
sales and
navigate that?
followers and likes. Now I post
Interaction.
a picture and it's get like 40 likes, but I'll post a like stupid reel. I hate doing those. But it'll get like 750 likes. I'm like, what is this? I don't want to be a monkey dancing on the screen, doing like all the dances to get like views and sales. Like I refuse.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah, and you have like 25,000 followers, and 40 people liked your thing. Like that's not right.
Yeah.
Well, and then
just
the worst part of it is you see the analytics of it, and it's like they're only showing you to 25,000 people. It's like, how is that possible if I have 50,000 followers? It just doesn't make sense.
I mean, sometimes my posts I have like 17,000 followers, and sometimes my posts get shown to like 42 people. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's
like
absurd.
25,000 would be amazing.
Well, it's funny too. For some reason this week I decided to try and utilize TikTok a little bit more. So I just basically put together like these mashes of like old video clips, and they're getting more views than anything I've posted on there like ever. But then out of nowhere, like one video will just get 32 plays. Meanwhile, 5 videos around it are getting 900. So none of it makes sense.
Yeah, TikTok was good. I feel like a year and a half ago, and then they're slipping up too. Like I get pretty good engagement and stuff from TikTok, but then like I don't know, the last 10 posts or so, it's like nothing. I'm like, okay, well, fuck, I'm not putting any more effort into it.
I didn't put enough work in on TikTok. I think I missed the wave. I've only got like 190 followers or something. I was too late.
Yep.
So, but question for you, Jennifer: do you have a newsletter?
I do, but
Okay.
I rarely send out emails.
See, that's the key these days, because
That's
emails
what
you can't get filtered out of emails. People can ignore you, but they're at least going to have to scroll by it if they're looking at their inbox.
I need to get on that.
Yeah, so like that's another good secret is the old newsletter. It really is at this point the best way to contact your following, because it's not being controlled by an algorithm. It's only being controlled by, man, I'm deleting all my emails right now because I got so many spam emails. But I'm at a point where my newsletter gets like 50 or 60% opens at this point. So like the people that want my information are getting it, and that's cool.
Yeah.
It also allows direct links, which Instagram still doesn't do. So people can just click right there. Boom. They don't have to go back to your bio. So
I have to get on that.
This is like all the tips episode.
Mm-hmm. Start a podcast and do a few episodes and then take a break for 2 years and then come back.
Yeah. So you can do that when you have lots of information to share. You can just like disappear. People still think you're important, but you're not. And then you come back and you got some more information. Like, wow, these people know what they're talking about. I guess we should keep watching. Oh, they went away for another 6 months. Oh wait, they're back. You know, and they just keep coming back. Now Chris is actually working now. What are you working on over there?
Just some backgrounds for some group shows coming up. And then
I was gonna say that was exciting. I thought there was gonna be a big story.
oh no, there's really not. No. I'm
You're
actually
working on some backgrounds.
I'm trying some new stuff actually, and it was kind of nice, like, you know, being somewhere like Italy and kind of getting new perspective on certain things and seeing work that I don't get to see regularly. So I don't know, I was just trying to change it up a little bit. You know, not do a robot every 5 minutes.
So we need to go back to the previous episode and screenshot the video and put it up as an NFT, so the person that bought that piece can have the NFT of it too.
Yeah, there you go.
And then we'll be doing the same thing for this piece.
Exactly.
I feel like we're on like a live art auction.
HeritageAuctions.com, sponsored by.
Watch the masterwork. So other than Cory's show and all the other stuff you're working on, what do you got planned for the rest of 2024?
I have no idea. Hopefully I'll do Collected Con, 5 Points, and design. Decon. I'm looking for artists to like share booths. And I'm also gonna work on this.
Ooh, the cactus show
coming up.
That's gonna get us banned from Instagram too.
I have an idea for it. I think it's gonna be shooting out like a ghost or something.
That's gonna be amazing.
The ghost of Cactus Pass. I like it. No, so you sound like you're going to have a busy. You said, I don't know, I'm not going to do anything, and you're like, oh, I'm going to do.
Well, yeah, I have those shows, and I have a couple of other events like Oddities Market here in Florida. But outside of Florida, I'm doing hopefully Collected Con, 5 Points, and the con.
Yeah. So you're going to hit all the big designer toy shows. So you'll be right in the scene there. Yeah, what do you
think about the I think it's probably, I was going to ask probably the same question, the decon move. Is that what you're
ask? What do you think about Vegas?
I have never been, man.
Oh, you want to be there a few days.
I just want to be there.
Yeah, you gotta
be where the cool kids are.
The way I look at Vegas is it's kind of like the same way I look at New York, and it's the reason that Cory kind of gets mad when he goes to New York. You got to believe that in that Vegas like mindset, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Like that's Vegas. You got to believe in that. And as soon as you don't believe in that anymore, it turns into like, why did I just pay $13 for this water? Like, it's just one of those places that, it's not, you just have to let yourself go, let logic out the window. In New York, you just got to believe that it's a city where dreams come true, right? You just got to believe that while you're there. As long as you believe
the trash is always on the streets.
Not anymore. We have new laws. Trash can't be on the streets anymore.
Really?
Yeah, they started this whole new program because of the rat problem. So now, now restaurants have to have bins for all their trash. They can't have trash bags anymore on the street. And residential buildings. Wow. That's not my responsibility. It's this. And then residential buildings they can't put their garbage out. I forget how many hours before pickup. So they're trying, but it's literally the stupidest moves that they're doing.
Well, I mean, they just heard Cory complaining, and they're trying to get him back. That's all it is.
Well, when I was in Tokyo, which is a much larger population than New York City, they seem to have very clean streets, and their train system, you could eat off the seats. They're so clean.
Yeah, but that is a mindset difference.
Yeah, that's like centuries of discipline. Like, come on.
Didn't we pretty much? Yeah, but we pretty much started with New York. Like, come on, get your shit together. You're like the oldest major city. You don't have any excuses.
I think that's Boston, right?
I was gonna say not New York.
Yeah,
I mean
Boston.
Yeah, the 13 colonies thing.
Yeah. Very different mentality in Japan. Very much so. It's a thing about respect. They respect all areas, including the sound waves in the train. It's silent, right? It's just like dead silent.
No phone calls in the train.
Yeah. I feel like Cory about got kicked out. He started talking and they were like, "Nope, you're out."
I did see this woman screaming at this guy in the streets. He must have did something real bad because she was like freaking out on him.
Oh, I bet this one got Cory too. Did you wear your backpack when you were walking around?
Yes, but
when you get on the train, you got to take it off. Everybody takes it off. Do you notice that?
They don't take it off. They just put it in the front.
Oh yeah, in the front, or they hold it in the front. Yeah.
I did that. Or I sat down and put it in my lap.
Yep. So they didn't get Cory on that one.
Nope. I made sure to look up some things. Learned a couple words.
Didn't try to tip people, right?
No.
Did you see anybody having meltdowns?
No, just that one lady, because that guy must have killed her dog or something.
Because there's like a whole thing about like the Japanese businessmen that have like meltdowns and they just basically like lay down in the street and take a nap.
No, but I did. So this girl Jamie that used to work for us, she just moved to Japan to take a teaching job, and she worked the booth with us at Wonder Festival, and she hadn't gone to sleep yet when she came to Wonder Festival, because I guess the train stopped running at 12:30.
Yep.
So she went out drinking with her friends past when the train stopped. So she's like, "What am I supposed to do?" And her friend's like, "We just stay out and we keep drinking." So that's what she did.
So
and then did a whole con.
Stay open till like 4 or 5, and then you go get ramen, and then you get on the train when they open at like 6 or whatever. So
Yep. So that's what happened. Lostings asked how the jet lag was since getting back. The jet lag there was not so bad because we were already kind of tired from the plane ride or whatever. I think it took me like 2 or 3 days to kind of get in the swing of things. And the sucky thing about Japan is everything opens up late. So we would wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, but there's nothing going on till like 10. But when we came back, that was the worst because I had a very long layover that got delayed. I got like no sleep for the first 2 days because I just kept waking up. But I'm good now.
Yeah, it's I always feel like it's worse to come back than it is to go, because like when I go, I just like stay up until like it's dark again, and then just and once I do that once, I'm fine. But it's like the coming back is always like a challenge for me.
Mm-hmm.
How gross is America after being in Tokyo?
It's disgusting.
Cory questions about Tokyo Hour.
I look around and I'm just disgusted by everything and every person I see.
Well, of course, you live in Florida. No, I'm just kidding.
Yep.
So, welcome to the live stream here, DangerBot. We appreciate you joining in. So we should probably get back to asking some interview questions, though. We're not here to talk to Cory about his trip.
Nope.
So, as far as your style, you mentioned earlier that you incorporate all these different elements. What's your favorite element to work in? Your favorite medium to work in, or do you just like having that mesh style?
I like having that mesh. I like the ease of just like sculpting, making a mold, and casting. But I feel like it needs more. So it's fun when I do those resin pieces, but like my real passion is making these dolls that have all these different textures and layers and little details. I could add like a necklace, a staff, and like, I don't know, little props and little things. I enjoy doing that.
So when you first did your resin casting, was it intimidating to you, or were you just like, yeah, this will be great?
Yes.
This little science experiment you're doing.
Oh my God, that
here.
was so bad. I went to like Hobby Lobby and I got some mold putty. So I didn't even use the pour-on silicone. I used that mold putty to make like little pieces, and they looked so bad. And looking back, I'm like, how did people pay money for this?
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Gotta
But
start
eventually,
somewhere.
you know, I moved on to like smooth on products, and I started getting like the little trials, and then I moved to like gallons, and
Cool.
so.
Do you use do you make like a box, or do you use like the Lego technique, or do you like how do you?
Oh my God. I don't know if there's a video on my Instagram where I'm showing people what I use for making molds, and I'm like, hey guys, don't feel bad if your mold game is weak, because I use like Tupperware, and like I used a water bottle to make a mold, like it's like random things.
No, yeah, a lot of the bootleg toy guys, they take like the solo cups that they mix their resin in, right? They use that to make the mold, because I mean it's
Yep.
literally it's small enough that it can make like a little headpiece or an
Yep.
arm or whatever, you know.
I do that too.
Yeah, you just got to use the element, like whatever you have at your fingertips, right? You don't have to have like a fancy studio or like with all this like fancy equipment, like
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't have to stop you from creating, and people can
Mhm.
get good results just doing what works, right? When I said the Lego technique, a lot of people build a box, right, out of like a bunch of Legos, and then they put their stuff down in there to make the
I need to
mold.
try that. I see a lot of people doing that.
Well, the beauty of that one is that it's completely customizable, right? Like you can build it however shape or whatever you need, you know, to basically maximize your silicone, so you're not wasting any or whatever. So, okay, so we got a question from the crowd here. Space Chick _ crypto asks, Coven, what is your most favorite piece you've ever made and why?
Ooh, I don't know. There's so many. I want to say the werewolf that's in Saturday's show. He's like my favorite thing that I've made. It's like I'm super proud of that, because he's got like a fur suit and like a clay face and clay arms and legs, and he's like my baby. I'm so jealous of whoever picks that up, because I really wanted to keep him. That's my favorite piece.
You heard that here. That's the
The
piece
werewolf.
My favorite is the one that we talked about before, the little ghost bottle. I just think that one's super cute and super fun.
Yes, we need to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you guys can hear this, but my dog is doing some weird noises over here.
It's not gonna have another seizure, right?
I hope not. I don't know what the heck that was about. So, for those listening, I came home from a class for my son, and found the dog had vomited all over the place, and was not able to like move. And then we went to I carried her out to the car, put her in the car, went to the emergency vet, carried her into the emergency vet, and then they came and grabbed her and took her back to do like the vitals and whatever. And she came back just walking out perfectly fine, like nothing was wrong. And I'm like, wait, what? You literally couldn't walk like minutes ago. They determined that it was either a seizure, or apparently you can throw up. Humans can do this too. I Googled it. You can throw up so hard that you like pass out. So they think that maybe she had threw up so hard that she had some sort of event like that.
Vasovagal.
Yeah, you said it, that word.
Yep.
So they think that maybe she threw up so hard that she passed out and lost like the ability to use her, limbs or whatever. So I don't know. It was crazy, but she gave us a little scare, but she is perfectly fine now. So
That's good. $5,000 later.
Hopefully,
Right.
it was only like 300 and some, because they gave her some like $45 shot for nausea. But the basic visit was like $150. But when she came out walking, I was like, really, girl? Like, just perfectly fine. And then it's like when you take your car in, right? Like, it's not doing it when you need it to do it.
Yep.
Hey, do that thing again. But luckily the vet said that she had seen her come in, and she was like, yeah, she wasn't able to move her limbs. I was like, thank God you don't think I'm just crazy making this stuff up. Like,
Wow,
so,
that's scary.
yeah. She's 8, so that's not like super old for a Frenchie, but also kind of old for a Frenchie. So it's that we're getting to that point where we understand these dogs are getting up in age here. Look at my hand. That's kind of crazy. Like, it keeps like disappearing. So yeah. So if you, her name's Rosie. If you go on our website, you can see a little dog we made of her. So she has been immortalized, but she is okay. And my other dog, Nacho, is our logo for UVD Toys, for those that don't know. So the two dogs have become a big part of UVD as well, not just my personal life. So, hey, who took Dangerbot's new question? Worked with a guy who got sick, threw up on his hands, his stomach inverted. What? Caused him to have a heart attack.
Yikes.
That's wild.
Wow. So actually, that's funny that you, well, not funny, but it's interesting that you pointed that out, because so Cory's my phone a vet tech, because Cory used to be a vet tech. So I called him and I was trying to describe what was going on. I'm like, what do I tell them? I think she's having a stroke. He's like, that's not really a thing.
Yeah, dogs don't really stroke out.
I mean, that's what it looked like, though, right? But apparently that's not a thing. So Cory allowed me to better describe what was going on, so that at least they didn't think I was completely insane when I was in there trying to describe.
Everybody, please do not start DMing me about your pet problems.
Wait. So dogs can't have strokes?
Well, they can apparently, but it's very rare. Google says it's possible.
A thing.
So it was unlikely that she had a stroke.
Interesting.
And then my question was, I was like, well, maybe it was a heart attack, right? And Cory's like, that's not really a thing either. Incoming DM. Somebody's going to be DMing.
Oh, here we go.
So I got a little nervous, though. Somebody had their cat there, and they came out, and they were, whatever was going on with the cat, and they're like, well, the visit was this much, and then this test is going to be $750. And I was like, Rosie, don't be just keep walking. Don't show them any indication that you need anything else. So, because it was like an emergency vet situation, it wasn't just like a normal vet. Because of course this happened at 7 o'clock at night. It couldn't happen during the day.
Yeah, so then the prices are double.
Yep.
I guess to get out of the dog talk, but Jennifer, would you ever want to work as a prop master, or work for any studios and do stuff, or do you think that would kind of kill it for you?
I think I would love that.
Yeah.
Because and I thought about this, because the pressures of being an artist and having to produce and having to do all the behind the scenes stuff, it's a lot of pressure when you're doing it full time. And sometimes I'm like, maybe I should work for someone and take that mental load off. I would love that, to make things for special effects studios, painting, I don't know, mixing resin. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget how much creators have to take on, because you're not just sculpting and painting a thing. You're also a photographer, and you also have to learn e-commerce and algorithms, to stay ahead of the game. It's a lot of work that goes into it, especially when you're full time. Yeah.
You have to you have to come up with the art, and then you're struggling in your head, because you're like, will this sell? Do I care if it sells? I just need to make this. And then
also,
sometimes it sells.
Right? The logistics part of it, getting all the raw materials in, and then shipping out your work to people or galleries or wherever. I mean, it's being a small business is or as an artist, even, it's still just there's so much stuff that people do not see, right? Yeah. And then they're like, why do you charge this much for your thing? And you're like, well, if we did end to end and actually took the number of hours that I'm putting into this, I'd be making 2 cents. So even at this price point, it's the hours of stuff they don't see, you researching and trying to figure out techniques, or trying to figure out materials that work for what you need it to do, or different paints, or different things that you're trying to test out that don't work. Those are all hours that go into, your ability eventually to create whatever it is you're trying to create. And those hours are lost or not billable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people just don't see that, they don't see the hours that Cory spends trying to work with FedEx for BS stuff that they've lost his package for 6 months, or all the random chasing things down that don't need to be chased down, that end up not turning into anything. So it's just It's just tough being a small business.
Yeah. Especially since I'm producing everything. So I'm like making the item, I'm making the mold, I'm doing the castings, I'm doing the sanding, priming, painting, shipping, everything.
Yeah. And then they hit you with that $3,000 bill to get your stuff to Italy, like Chris.
Yeah. And then the gallery gets half of it. Anything you sell.
Yep.
Well, not my gallery, but
yeah,
most galleries.
Most galleries, not Strange Cat.
Most galleries. I know. Have you ever run into any issues as an artist of, oh shit, my thing looks just like this other person's thing?
all the time.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of like abandoned projects because I'll scroll through Instagram and be like, oh, I don't know if I'm doing it subconsciously. And sometimes I even avoid following artists that are like too similar to my style. I feel bad about it, but I don't want to be like influenced by them. I don't want to be like, hey, you copied this person. But yeah, I have a bunch of abandoned projects because they're too similar to something someone made, which is stupid, but I just feel I don't want to be that person.
Well, on the flip side, does it ever happen to you? Are you like, hey, that looks just like the thing I fucking made last week?
Yeah, I get that sometimes, but I get
How do
copycats.
you process that?
They don't really last long because it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Do you let that like harp on you, or do you feel like it's best to just move on?
At first, when I first started, it would really get to me. Like I would lose sleep thinking about these things, but over time, I'm just like, whatever. If they want to do it, good. I don't really care.
Yeah, I think you try to control what you can within your world, and just shut out the bad stuff that's gonna bring you stress and make you lose sleep. I think it's best to move on. I know there's something going on with, I don't want to call the artist out, but there's a similar thing going on with an artist, and he's kind of posting a bunch about it on his Instagram, and it's not being well received by, I think, his fans and a lot of people, and I think it just hurts your brand if you harp on things too much.
Yeah, it ends up. I think people get. It's weird. Like you're clearly the person that, like, in some cases where somebody completely just straight rips you off. If you say something about it, then people are like, well, it's like inspired by what you came up with was inspired by something else, and it's like
nothing is ever original.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you literally copy the exact same thing, right? Like, and then the people are trying to tell you that your thing was copied from something, and it's like, okay. I
think it's especially when you get into like those stylized art, those styles. Like if I make 50s looking cartoons, or I make stuff that looks like Jack Skellington, or Guillermo del Toro stuff. It all kind of starts to look similar, and I don't think people should get too upset about that, because most of these people have been inspired by the same things.
Yeah, but there's always going to be people on the internet, right? Like, there's always going to be people just like saying random shit to say shit, right? When my kids ended up on that kids getting hurt Instagram, I tried to tell my wife, don't look at the comments. Don't look at the comments. They're going to be bad. And of course, she looks at the comments, and then it's like, why'd you name your kid Enzo? That's a stupid name.
And Jenny's like, motherfucker.
Mom of the year. That was one of them. So it's just like, the internet's like full of people, like, because they don't have to answer for their comments, right? It's just like a funny, keyboard warriors. Thank you, pop couple. There we go. Keyboard warriors. There we go.
Fame has a cost,
But I mean, that comes in when people start complaining about people ripping them off. Then the keyboard warriors come in and try to defend why, they just ignore the issue, which is the fact that somebody like straight copied something, and then they just make it about how you copied something. It's just like, that wasn't the point. Like the point was that this other person copied my thing. So let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any other comments here. We have, let's see. This one says, both sides are ick in my opinion, and then other things can live in harmony, like the amount of three-eyed, round-lined critters, which I think that's a reference to our cat, the Collecticon cat.
Collecticon mascot. Yep.
So, but no, I mean, like certain things, there are themes, right, throughout the work, like you were saying, with like inspiration from any of that kind of like creepy kind of world. Like if you enjoyed that before you started creating, obviously that stuff's going to kind of like help shape some of your work, right? And like things that you see do kind of come into your peripheral. Like you can't not be inspired by something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you can put your own spin on it, and it can be totally different, but there's still inspiration, you know, and that's fine. Like, but it's just when people straight rip something off is when it gets really frustrating.
Especially when they have friends. It's even worse.
Yeah. Yes. So, well, guys, we've been going over a little bit over an hour. So typically we try to keep these a little bit for an hour. So I think it's now time for me to say, does any of you have a specific question you haven't asked yet? Or Jennifer, do you have a question for us? Because you can do that too. I will take silence and nobody.
I don't. Yeah, I think I asked all the questions that I think I wanted to ask. Plus, I'll see you in a couple days, so I don't want to have nothing to talk to you about.
So, okay. Well, I think that's a sign we should probably go ahead and start to wrap this live up. So, what I want to give you a chance to do, Jennifer, is to toss out all your social media and where everybody can find you, so that anybody watching this can look you up.
My Instagram is the Coven of Cuteness, and also my Facebook is the Coven of Cuteness. My website is covenofcuteness.com, and that's it. I think that's all I use.
Awesome. So, Cory?
StrangeCatToys.com and Strange Cat Toys on all social medias, and we are.
Okay, never mind. Keep going.
I was gonna say, and StrangeCatToys.com is now 100% ADA compliant. So
okay. Don't start that talk.
Yeah. Don't start that story.
Yeah, please.
Next time.
Okay, and Chris?
At Chris RWK on all the social medias. Also, make sure to follow CollectedCon.
Glad you took care of that for me. And then I am Travis Likens from UVD Toys, at UVD Toys on all social media and UVDtoys.com. This has been the Urban Robot Cat podcast. You can find us at Urban Robot Cat on all social medias and youtube.com/Urban Robot Cat. This has been the Urban Robot Cat podcast, the show about art and the people who make it.